Alright, so, what's up? Alright, we got this nasal peptides in, right? Did you know that actually GHRP2 was originally given as a nasal peptide? It seems to be about 85% absorbable through the nasal cavity. So why would you ever inject? I don't know. Well, you wouldn't, because it's not for human consumption. It is simply for your fish, frog, monkey, mouse, saber-tooth, spider, cricket. But so that we get an overview of how this works, why it works, what it's for, what it's not for, what it will do, what it won't do. And one day, whenever your doctor allows it, or your FDA, Default Stat Administration, says that it's okay for you to possibly heal yourself, which is never going to happen, by the way, at that point, you'll be able to use it. Until then, you can buy it at newsarms.com for research purposes, not for you to use, though, ever. So, GHRP2 is a growth hormone releasing peptide. Growth hormone releasing peptides like GHRP2 and GHRP6 actually are mimics of ghrelin, which is your hunger hormone. Okay? So, think about your stomach growls. That's ghrelin causing growth hormone to be released. So, when your stomach growls or when you get hungry, that is triggered by ghrelin. That ghrelin causes cortisol to rise, and cortisol and somatostatin stimulate growth hormone release. Somatostatin is, think about anything that says statin means to inhibit. In this case, somatostatin means to inhibit your growth hormone, somatotropin. Now, that triggers the cortisol, which is the stress hormone that causes belly fat, believe it or not. Because when you get hungry, the body thinks you're starving and it starts to want to store calories in the fat cell, especially around the belly. And what happens is then growth hormone shoots up, and when growth hormone is released, it stifles somatostatin, because somatotropin has now pushed somatostatin back in its hole where it's supposed to be, and cortisol back down in its hole where it's supposed to be. And then you get a feeling of what we call satiety, which is I'm no longer hungry. Think about it. After your stomach growls, give it about 5 minutes, and then you're satisfied. That is the growth hormone being released and balancing your hormones. It's really a cool system. Now, if we can increase growth hormone, what happens is we get better skin, better hair, better nails, you get loss of cellulite, you actually increase your metabolism, lose body fat, increase muscle mass even while you sleep, you have vivid dreams, and I mean, like, there's not even a need for an and there, really. Like, what else would you want? It has been proven that increasing growth hormone levels in adults will cause a 14% decrease in body fat and a 7% increase in muscle mass with no change in diet or exercise over a 6-month period. There you go. That's all I need to say, right? No, but growth hormone releasing peptide 2 is the second generation of GHRH, which is actually much more potent and less issues come from. What this does is it causes the release of growth hormone. Now, it will make you hungry, which can be a good thing if we're trying to build muscle, right? So when hunger increases, so does caloric intake, and that means more weight. Now, if you can stifle the hunger, then you get actually a lot better fat burning. But here's where the issue comes in with something like with MK677. MK677 having such a long half-life, which now I've heard that it's 9 to 10 hours, but from every study that I've seen, it's about a 30-hour half-life in MK677. GHRP2 is more like a 2-hour half-life, and maybe even a little faster through the nasal cavity. Through injection, it's like a 2-hour. So here's the problem with a diabetic taking MK677 is it will throw you into having horrible A1C levels and maybe even to the doctor. So a diabetic research animal should never research with MK677. But how are they ever going to fix the pancreas if they don't have enough growth hormone to do this? Hence the problem. If we wanted to fix pancreatic function in a diabetic, we would need growth hormone, because growth hormone is the hormone that causes repair in the organs or in the glands specifically that produce hormones. Pancreas being what produces insulin. Therefore, how are we going to heal it? Well, here's how this balance works. See, God's really smart. He's like way smarter than us. To prove this, this is how he balance things. Is when you get hungry, your insulin levels are zero. Like, you don't need insulin. Insulin's job is to transport your energy from fat cell, right? Or actually from energy from that you eat to the fat cell for storage, or to the muscle to build it for use. Now, once you have rebuilt all the damage done to the muscles, then you eat more, and what's insulin gonna do? You're like, look, I gotta do this energy, I'm gonna put it over here in the closet. Unfortunately, a lot of us are walking around with our closets so freaking full that we can't hardly walk. So, if we ever want to burn the extra energy out of the reserve tank, I would recommend you stop putting stuff in the closets. Okay? So, we have to get an empty stomach. Back in the biblical days, they said, you need to go without eating every now and then because God said so. Yay. Okay. Actually, fasting directly increases growth hormone by massive amounts. It allows your liver and your kidneys to cleanse and your pancreas to heal and become insulin sensitive instead of resistant, meaning the opposite of diabetes instead of being diabetic. The reason we get diabetes is because we won't shut our mouth. And I don't mean talking. So, when we balance this, hungry, low insulin, growth hormone shoots through the roof to go in, heal everything, clean everything out, and do all the hard work, right? Perfect. 30-hour release. Now, growth hormone fits the same receptor that insulin fits. So this fills this up. This ain't got nowhere to go, and your A1C levels are through the roof, and you end up in the hospital if you're diabetic. To offset that, Ghrp2 taken is a very short-lived thing. So if you'll take it when on an empty stomach, you will get a massive growth hormone release, which is extremely good for you, and then you can eat later and your insulin will be able to fit in said receptor. You're welcome. So now, because I had to talk, see, this is my fish frog, monkey mouth, saber-toothed, spider cricket, griffin, and he told me he didn't like me stabbing him all the time with these peptides, and I was like, you know, man, that's the only way you can get them, because if you swallow them, your liver, it's going to kill them, and they won't work. And, I mean, what else we got? We can't put them on the skin because the Dalton rating is too high on them. And he said, well, I'll just snort it. And I went, oh, it's a good idea there. So, here's what we got. Is now we have Ghrp2 on newsarms.com. That is bioavailable through the nasal cavity, the way it was originally done anyway. So now you can get it that way, and you don't have to stab your research animal anymore. So you get the benefits, and you get less side effects. If it drives you insane how that first 7 days of MK677 you get that cortisol increase that makes you want to beat the hell out of everyone. And that's natural. That's for 7 days that's going to happen while your growth hormone is building up and causing and stifling somatostatin and cortisol. To do faster release, shorter, and almost as strong, not quite as strong of a release of growth hormone so that you can get the benefits and not cause yourself to be diabetic, which if you're pre-diabetic, MK677 will, it can push you over that edge, giving you that extra, you don't have enough insulin receptors. So to negate all that, GHRP2 would be your best option and the only option for someone who is pre-diabetic, diabetic, anything like that, with the potential of giving your body what it needs to heal and you getting all these extra benefits that come along with it. So you can find that at newsarms.com. We got a whole new line of nasal peptides that are going to be the like, my research animal has already used them and he loves them. So like melanotan 2, have you ever taken that? Melanotan 2 is a cool one too. That is the stuff that you inject into a fish frog, monkey mouse, saber-tooth spider cricket, and it turns a white fish frog into a Ghrp fish frog, right? So the funny thing is it also causes spontaneous erections, but with just a teeny bitty, itsy bitsy, teeny tiny bit too much, and it also makes you extremely, or your research animal extremely sick to his stomach. So it's really funny to watch him with an erection puking in the toilet. And that was the way that my research animal tested the nasal experiment to make sure that the product was... Anyway, go to newsarms.com, check it out, grab you some and see what you think. Because, honestly, this is going to be the best way to not have to stab your research animal every freaking few hours. So check that out, and any questions you have, sethnhc@att.net. Love y'all, appreciate you. I'm here to help as much as I can. There is only one of me, but I will get to you as quickly as possible. Brian helps me out with my emails. Thank you, Brian. You do a great job. And peace.